I'd like to call the July 8th Conservation Commission meeting to order at 4. So let's go around the room and we will call. I'm going to start with Nina Regan, Chris Pickwell, Francine Domkowski,
Peter Lisa.
Lynette Wacker, staff. Lori Papos. Amelia Modelanis.
Deb Mapes.
Joe Russo.
Krista May Clerk.
Okay, so we have a full house today. It's great. It's in July. Nobody's on vacation.
I want to be somewhere in addition.
Okay, and then I guess, Lynette, I may just, turn this piece over to you, the Terry application for re-subdivision of the, 6.6 acres into 3 lots. We just want to
Okay.
kind of, just address it. I know you sent all the material. Hopefully people will at least peruse some of it to get a sense of what this is all about, so.
So you don't often get a referral, but you got a referral from the planning commission. They're reviewing this, they call it a re-subdivision of land because it's not the first time it's been subdivided, so they call it re-subdivision. It's basically a subdivision to create a few new lots in this. It's about an 8-acre parcel total. Is it 8 or 10? Not sure.
I'd say
6.
6.6 on your thing, but
6, but I think there's a couple of other lots.
yeah.
It's a large lot and 2 lots were already subdivided on it, but now they're all looking at the whole.
Okay.
Because they want to add 3 more lots back. There's a large wetland on the west side, 2 smaller wetlands on the north side, kind of bisected by the original driveway. So now it used to be 1, now it's 2. That driveway's been there for a very long time. So they're going to use that driveway as the road going into the subdivision. So they're going to have to create a new road. I'm just going to widen it a little bit. So there's going to be a little wetland impact there. It's already been to the wetlands commissioner and received a wetlands permit for that. As part of the subdivision, there's a requirement that they have to set aside some open space, so it's going to be protected open space cannot be developed. If you, I don't know, looked at the application yet, but if you look at the site plan, this conservation easement is an overlay that's cross-hatched. It covers the wetlands, all 3, and a little bit of the upland review area, so a little bit of the buffer area. It satisfies the requirement for the amount of open space, but because I guess this is for you to look at and consider, but the commission will be considering all of the impacts of the subdivision, and whether that conservation easement is adequate and if it's in the right place, protecting the right area. So you have to take a look and see what you think, and if you think that there's anything that they should consider from the Conservation Commission's perspective.
So just real quickly, I know probably should have thought to bring it up on the screen, but you said the crosshatch. Oh, so there's so many different maps, but the crosshatch, which is the
If we're on a copy it.
Yeah, if you have
it
it
out.
pass it out, just for us to understand, because I think that was, I can see what was inland wetlands, the wetlands on those maps, but it was, then it just got more and more complicated as they kept adding more and more stuff to the map.
So, yeah, it would be better even if I means over. Oh, I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could I just lay it on the table?
Yeah, we
Yeah,
can
yeah, we
just
can
kind
look
of, yeah.
We can page that shows it.
Yeah, and we'll just. I think, you kind of need the visuals, at least I do.
Yeah, it'll be helpful.
Yes.
Golden be your reasonable if you wanted that.
Well, I think maybe.
I think we can,
Yeah, we can.
can you see me? We can just, yeah.
So the shade, dark shaded spots are the wetlands that are flagged. Now this large wetland here has 2 vernal pools in it. This, and that is the better when they say from, you know, functions and values, that one has more greater value. These are kind of functioning more, they're still wetlands and they still perform, you know, some functions, they have value, but they're kind of functioning more as, like detention basins, kind of. So, you know, the stormwater's flowing into these. So this one is in, you know, more pristine shape, I should say. So there's a vernal pool here, there's another one on that end. So they're not confirmed, because to confirm a vernal pool, you have to actually see the eggs of the species that depend on vernal pools to live, and you can only see those at a very specific time of year. So though they have all the hallmarks of vernal pools, they haven't seen the species yet, because they didn't want to investigate at that time of year. So they're just suspected vernal pools, but they probably are. So what else is nice about it?
Being found out here.
Yeah.
So these are all private properties bordering that?
Yep, those
Yeah,
are
that-
all- is that mineral
Yeah.
ones, I think?
That's,
Or
that's,
mineral ones?
that's that loop.
So then-
Yeah, well,
On that-
yeah. Trying to say, oh, this is, yeah, I think this is Meadowwood, because colonial, because it took me a minute to.
Come out
So-
here, that's.
so- This is, the marsh has been eliminated by private here, or it's extended, or does it extend into here?
Probably does, but they do not have to flag wetlands on other people's property when they do this, so.
Oh, that's what, yeah, I was
And
wondering.
they've only identified the.
So there
wetlands.
is probably extends, because it's weird shape.
Yeah, the district.
Yeah,
Yeah, straight line in. So, yeah, we would hope all of these houses.
Although is that, looks like a stone wall there.
Oh, this,
So-
Oh, is that what that
Yeah,
is?
Yeah, looks like that's in.
All the way around.
Stone wall.
no, can't be.
So that, I don't know if it was filled on the other side of those stone walls, I don't really know.
Holy cow, the whole thing?
Yeah.
It was one big.
Yeah.
oh,
escape,
yeah,
I should
yeah,
say.
there's the key.
So it goes the whole way, so it has been filled then,
I don't know.
I bet you it has.
Right.
Yeah. That original house, I think, was from 1600.
Yeah, it is.
Wow.
Where's the original house? Which one?
This one.
Let's see.
That's the main drag where they come in, up there.
Yeah, up there, that's the old post road.
Interesting.
So, all right, so one other thing I can tell you is. I think I have to turn the page to show you. But when they're reviewing the subdivision, the house locations are, what can I say, they're, call it schematic. It's not necessarily where the houses are going to be, it's just to give you a rough, give the commission, the planning commission, an idea of where the houses could go. So they've got houses, you know, kind of like specked out there.
Wow.
And septic systems and driveways, just to show that it will work. Now, when somebody buys that lot, they can do whatever they want, as long as they're meeting the zoning requirements. So it doesn't have to be exactly where they're
You
showing.
said this is a house here, this thing?
That looks like it's
Gazebo.
either a,
Stockpile area.
Stockpile of first construction.
Yeah.
So the
ring
house.
Yeah.
These
Oh,
are
yeah,
houses.
schematic
of the house.
Yeah, squares.
so that's not necessarily what's gonna
And there.
happen. See the little squiggly line around that? They're calling that the limits of clearing, but that is not the actual limits of clearing. That's just, again, it's just kind of a.
So it's a concept diagram.
It's a
not-
concept,
Mhm.
yes. So where it says limit, everything beyond the limits, you know, towards the wetlands, that's currently wooded. Anything that's,
Mm.
you know, on the other side of not cleared area is all pretty much forest.
And you commented early on that what's the open space that they have to, how much of this is open space that they?
Well, this is all
this-
open here. See the
So-
lines? So this is all
Oh,
open,
okay.
not
Mm.
including this, but this is
Because that's.
this is developed,
What-
everything on this side's all developed. This is open here.
So
You can
what's
see.
proposed to be the open space
Yeah.
is the crosshatched area that's over these, so over the wetlands, and then it extends a
Oh.
little, you can see. it
Oh, so
extends like
yeah,
five-
okay, I see, yeah, okay, right,
Yeah.
right, okay.
And only 5 feet beyond the boundary of the wetland on these two smaller ones.
All right.
So although wetlands have a 100-foot upland review area, which would trigger a wetlands application if somebody wanted to clear that,
Mhm.
that doesn't mean they're protected. It just means they have to go to the commission and
Get requested.
demonstrate that what they're proposing to do, clearing the trees from the wetland buffer, would not harm the wetland.
Mhm.
So they could still apply to do that. And I don't know if they will or not. But you can see, there's a lot of information on this plan. It's hard to see, but then they show you the 100-foot setback is all the way up here
Oh, okay.
from that wetland. So
Okay. Mhm.
they're, in their concept, they're trying to stay out of that 100-foot buffer. But realistically, we don't know if people will come in and propose a house this small. On these lots.
So how many lots do you want to jam in here? I mean,
3 more.
Yeah.
and how many are in the original?
There's 3 in there.
Sorry,
Six,
like 2-acre flats roughly?
Not
Yeah,
even.
something.
not even.
So have they been approved for anything yet,
It was that.
for the first 3 or no?
Just in the
Yes.
wetlands.
So this, the original house is already there.
Mhm.
This house is already there. This has been there for a long time.
Okay,
That house was recently approved.
this one.
Yep.
Mhm.
And so the next one, 2, 3
Three, yeah.
are being proposed.
So they're splitting up those other properties.
Yeah, this house here has the remainder of the lot. It's so hard to see on this plan, because it's
So
too much
Bridget,
information
yeah.
on it. But, right now, this guy has like a flag lot. And that one has a flag lot, but they're gonna close, they're not gonna have the flags anymore, they're just all the, when I say flag, it's like a
Driveway.
frontage
Yeah.
on that street. They're all gonna access it through this.
Oh, right,
through
right,
this-
yeah.
It's gonna be a private road.
So they're saying that.
So this
So
road
lot that's
exists,
left-
right? This one.
It's a driveway, but yeah, it's already there.
Okay, so they're just gonna
But I
open
think
it
they
up
want
as
to,
a,
yeah, widen it, yeah.
So
It
that
seems
it's-
to think they would have better drainage and. the plan.
The drainage was reviewed in, wetlands as it impacts the tree line itself.
what's the elevation across this, do you know roughly how?
It should stay on there, but is it in a flood zone, or are you asking?
Yeah, no, I just want to see what, do they have elevation?
Good luck finding it.
Yeah.
Whoever finds it gets the prize.
Do we have?
Yeah, there it is.
Topography on here.
17 feet,
Oh, okay. Up here.
12, 11, 10.
Higher up here.
Yeah, that's a high point. That gets pretty low. Yeah.
They're
Oh,
proposing,
yeah, yeah.
I think, at least this thing will want. There's two rain gardens are going to
Oh.
capture the runoff from the house and the,
So they're gonna have retention, basically.
well, the rain garden is just.
It's a retention, yes.
So with this lot being a flag lot, would it be owned by the homeowner or the developer? Because it goes into what's proposed to be open space.
So that's a little confusing, but they called it, they made it a flag lot because it has to have frontage on the street. They never put the driveway in here though. They always accessed it from this driveway here.
But can designated open space be owned by the individual homeowner?
I see what you're saying. So one of the provisions of this subdivision is if the road is ever improved, these flags will revert back to, it will be eliminated and they'll then get their frontage on the street. So this flag will be removed. And this will become part of this lot. This all will be part of this lot. Now, all of the wetlands, all of the conservation, the proposed conservation areas will be privately owned. They'll be part of the lots that are subdivided. But the conservation easement that will be placed on them will restrict what they can do there.
Oh, okay.
So it won't become owned by a homeowners association or the town. But the town will hold the conservation easement, which means they're responsible for enforcing that. So what they're looking for is for the commission to provide any comments that they might want regarding, any environmental impacts. I mean, yeah,
So once the actual plan for building and siting the house is made, do they go back to the Wetlands Commission to make sure?
well, they will have to if they are
100 feet.
going within that 100
Yeah.
feet
Yeah.
upland review. If they want to do any clearing or put anything in their septic system or the house driveway or anything, really, they'll have to go back to the commission for the individual house.
So I think my understanding is our kind of duty here is the open space and the impact on wildlife and stuff. Are they gonna be blocking, something or what's something environmentally at risk if they do something? I mean, that's all to the extent we could look at it.
At this point, right, from our, we're not gonna comment on.
Where they're gonna put their houses or do it, but of the space that they can't be in, how is what they're building next to it gonna impact that space? That's, the marshland and any other open space. I mean, for instance, are there any corridors for animals or anything to move, or are they all blocked? In other words, are the species locked into one area?
Well, I wouldn't say they're blocked in. There's a road that bisects the lot. So anything that wanted to go from one wetland to the other would have to cross it's kind of like a driveway. But it is, it is a kind of a barrier. It's going to be paved.
Right.
And I wish I thought to do this earlier and drive by there. Just to see it.
You can't see it.
Oh,
Well,
really?
you could go, I guess you could go in.
Oh, I think it's, you really can't
Probably.
see it from any of the.
No, it's very wooded, so you can see the driveway as it goes in, then, it curves and it very quickly comes.
Whereabouts
It's
is,
a very good view of what's going
where
on.
is this exactly?
You could knock on the door and ask the owner
So-
to go back there.
Do you know what Colonial Drive is? Little pub,
Yeah,
Yeah,
and then.
oh, it's back there.
yeah, it's
The
back
next
there.
road.
It's like the old Boston Post Road.
Yeah.
Oh.
I got confused when I started, I'm like, wait, old Boston Post Road.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's, so it's back in that whole.
So it's even older than the old ones.
right.
So I think it's
On the same side as the.
Yeah, I was
road,
gonna
is
say,
that-
those
is the
old
little
Boston
hub?
Post.
No,
Yeah.
the other side, okay.
The near
Like
track,
Indian
that's up
Town,
further.
yeah.
The last house
Exactly.
there, that back one near you,
Yep,
butts up against Indian Town.
okay.
Yeah, and there, because it's Sea Lane, it's like.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I used
Yeah.
to run back in there all the time.
Okay.
So these are tiny little houses that they're showing as possible, how,
Yes.
as tentative.
just to show that
But
they can
this-
get a house in there.
They could get a squeeze, put a little house in there and it looks nice and tidy and, proportional. But this is the kind of house that is gonna make money. So, and they're gonna push hard on that. So I'm just,
These are being sold by the property owner, right?
I assume so.
I think that's what it was.
Yeah,
so the
Yeah.
lots are being sold. They're
The
not
lots
gonna
are
be
being sold,
developed.
it's not a single developer.
That is
Well, a single
correct, that
developer
is,
could come in and buy all
The
three.
owner of the upfront
Yeah.
has a partner that theirs.
I see.
So I'm not sure what they're.
It just
Yeah.
seems like a lot of times there's some, this looks fine. But they're gonna come in and say, well, that's not economically feasible for us. We need to make this much money for this plan, and we're gonna put this house there. And we're gonna need all these variances to,
And
I
so
don't know.
so-
I'm just,
they go
I'm just
back.
throwing it out there, because that's.
So-
what
yeah, I think
happened.
it's not, but I think correct me if I'm wrong, the owners want to subdivide it, but an individual person like me could buy the lot and then I will decide what kind of house I want to put on it. So it's not like.
I'm not sure, I'm not sure, no.
Sound like.
No, they have an agent applicant. They're the ones that are going to, the owners are handing it over to an
Yeah.
agent. The agent's gonna try to maximize profit or division.
I think that the agent in this case is just getting them through this process. I think the agent is an engineer who's doing
Yeah,
Yeah,
the drawing.
Angus
I don't
is an
think
engineer, Sharps are engineers, yeah, they're all
Yeah.
engineers.
They're not real estate developers.
Yeah, they're not.
That is correct.
Right, okay.
yeah, so, yeah.
So I just want to comment on one thing that you said. I don't think that they would necessarily need variances to propose larger houses. I think that's allowed, those lots are generous sized lots.
Mm-hmm.
So they could probably put a much bigger house on there without having to
Okay. All right.
bend the zoning
Yeah.
regulations. I think
Okay.
they'd be within their rights to do
Okay.
that.
Okay.
Probably would have to go for wetlands permits, but otherwise technically allowed. Okay.
So did we say that this area is the woods, open space, like? that
No,
seems-
just the.
Yeah, Francine, show them, she has it up on her
All
phone,
of
just to
this
get
is
a sense of
Okay,
the woods there. It's like the,
Yeah, so see how wooded it is? I don't know if you can see with that light.
yeah, it's
Oh my-
interesting.
But
Yeah.
even like these houses here, look like they're on small lots,
I know, they're
Close
small
to-
lots,
close to this lot line.
huge.
So I don't know if they build anything really big there. It'd be so close
Where's
to
the
the-
landmark in there? Let's see.
So this is Old Post Road, which is
Oh, yeah.
Here in front of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
And then these existing houses is that little carve up right there.
Mm.
Okay. See there. So there's gonna be some tree removal.
Yeah.
if not Anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's gonna get us a less upset. Huh? More trees going.
They do comment that they're gonna try to be conservative, but yeah, never know. But,
Those are very mature.
yeah.
Anyway, just thinking to the
Cedar trees
extent
right
that this has trees and it's the area between the two wetlands, that would be like a place that would be good to protect. Oh, this is the existing house, right? So
Yeah,
this one's
that's a
not being,
clearing, yeah,
that's not being sold. That's probably just gonna
That's-
stay as is.
right, everything.
This is side, okay.
Is it these people that own the land?
Mhm.
Oh, so there's,
Terry's.
Yeah.
But it seems all lots are all the way around it already. I mean, this sort of like a little park isolated.
Yeah.
it is. Somebody held on to it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's gonna change the nature quite a bit there.
So initially you asked us, is the conservation easement adequate? Is that what we're commenting?
That is something that you could consider. I mean, that's kind of up to what you think.
Well, based on your picture, it's all developed around it. I mean, this is pretty isolated. I don't think there's a lot of traffic
Connectivity with other.
going from other areas into this.
Yeah.
Whatever species or something is pretty small and isolated here.
And it's a private road, right?
It's
Yeah.
fine, right? I think where that house back there is, that large one, if you go off the back corner there, I think you're getting into tidal wetlands there. So there is, I don't know what the situation is off on the
Oh,
other
yeah,
lots, on the adjacent lots. I don't know if they have, forested area there, but it does kind of almost connect to the tidal wetlands.
Yeah, the tidal wetlands at the end.
So-
of
So it's not,
Meadow
I
Lane.
wouldn't say totally isolated.
So not knowing exactly, again, topographically where they are, but one of the major problems we're having in Indian Town Chalker is watershed. The more they're building, the more drainage they're getting towards the coast and flooding. So I don't know, again, how much surface area or how they'll develop lawns or whatever. But that could be, looking at where the drainage pattern is the only thing we should take a careful look at, because it'll all funnel and go one direction.
So the drainage report will be on the website.
Okay,
It's there.
The planning.
It's quite detailed. I mean, I
okay.
I kind of read. through
Well, I
it.
assume it's gonna follow the drive there, because it'll be
Yeah.
asphalt, so it'll just be a funnel going down.
They looked at it.
Is it a flood
Yeah.
zone?
These two here
Said-
are gonna be interconnected. And there tends to be a flow from this one to this one. And there's a town collection basin here that takes that water, any excess, away from the road. And then it heads this way towards Chalker Beach.
Oh,
But how much volume there is, I don't know what the,
I think they were trying to treat some of it with the rain gardens on site.
right?
Oh, here's the FEMA flood zone one.
Oh, what's the letter on?
This is just, yeah,
Oh, it's not, I know, looking at it online, it's like upside down. Oh, so it's down here. Yeah, I was wondering about that.
wow, so it is in the flood zone.
Oh, wow,
It's
yeah.
not that,
Yeah.
The
Well,
wetlands
it's-
partial,
Well,
right?
that, you know, we're-
Yeah,
I'm in the flood zone.
just this part down here.
I mean, the marsh is not too far away. It's at the end of Meadowwood Road. Is you see a Meadowwood Road?
It's not on that, but it,
Oh,
yeah, it's
yeah.
off, it was on one of the other larger maps.
What are our other
So they're gonna
options?
be restricted for what they're going.
Your other options for.
So we could look at the conservation easement. Is there anything else?
Get that, if you think that it could be put, expanded or moved, or if you think it would, be better to protect other areas. I mean, certainly the wetlands should be.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a
Absolutely.
given.
And the regulations do a pretty good job of protecting the wetlands themselves. They don't often grant permits to fill wetlands. Upland review area is usually the more threatened area. Although they do, to get a permit, you have to demonstrate that you're not going to cause irreparable harm to the wetlands. So if they were to do clearing, they would have to demonstrate that. Although, taking trees down you might consider that to be harmful in other ways, not strictly as it impacts the wetlands. The wetlands commission can only consider the impact to the wetlands, not even really the wildlife that lives in the area. So they're really balanced.
So could we recommend that no trees be taken from the wetland review area? I'm just trying to throw out what
Right.
kinds of things
What
we can
would
say.
we would
Yeah.
say, right?
Well, your trees are gonna, absorb your moisture and stabilize there. The more trees you remove, the more drainage issues you have. That's simple as that. I mean, because you're just opening up the surface.
Yeah.
And it'll naturally make ruts and start draining a certain way. And that, depending which direction the flow, which is hard to tell there, but that'll affect the marshes, because it'll feed more water and change the character. What's that?
Just
That's kind of interesting, isn't it?
Because you're getting
Closest
closer
to
to
the
water,
water,
yeah.
Mhm.
that the tree must remain if it's
Here.
12 inches or greater.
This is the line.
Yeah, that you could,
Limit
Can't be up
cutting.
there.
yeah.
Also enforce signage posting in the protected areas,
Yeah.
Above sea level. That's
so that it's not forgotten.
Yeah, and also as, they were gonna do at the
Just
other
as the
place, monitoring.
Ocean is
Yeah.
right here.
They just can't, because what they'll say, all right, we got the permit, we're in now, they start cutting, doing whatever they want.
That's always a concern.
Yes,
Yeah.
but they should be monitored, again, areas that are left should be monitored carefully.
Which you guys try to do.
When there's a conservation easement and neighbors, the
Yeah.
neighbors tend to kind of look out for the protected area. So if one neighbor does something, sometimes with their fall, that something's happening out there. I mean, hopefully not too late. But, if they're all bound by the same rules, they might kind of help each other to remember that they're not allowed to cut trees down in the conservation easement area. But I think the subdivision regulations might even require that to be marked. We do have the markers already. So it doesn't hurt to recommend it again, that the conservation is there and be marked clearly, showing.
What's gonna be changed and moved and so forth, right? I mean, what's gonna be changed? Do they keep track of that? When they make requests like removing trees or anything, do they mark
Well,
them?
I'm not sure what you're asking, but if there's a conservation easement, it's pretty restricted. It usually says no vegetation removed. So it's not like you
Okay,
can remove a tree of this size, but not this size. All the ones that I've seen that the town holds say no tree cut, unless it's dead or, diseased, threatening somebody's property. Not to say that doesn't happen. I've never seen it.
Yeah, I wasn't speaking to that. I was talking more like the lot where they're gonna put houses, that they have a significant concern about each tree that they take down. And they not just go in there and clear cut, for example.
Well, they have to be, if they're going to subdivide, they have to be allowed a certain area.
To put the house,
and the
right.
Septic and the
Right.
driveway.
Yeah.
So. I don't know how that would work out, so you can't remove trees of a certain size if they doesn't allow that building envelope.
You can't.
No, I don't
Yeah,
think where they're gonna build. It's kind of up to them what to do, but
Right.
what's being left in the open space, wherever that margin is, that's what we're trying to minimize, that they don't encroach eventually, so you got nothing left. That's,
Maybe, you know, it can't be, I mean, we're not regulatory, but if we
Right.
make the statement that, you know, every effort is taken to maintain the conservation easement restrictions,
Say tree cutting to a minimum.
tree
you can
cutting
say
to a
that.
minimum.
Just
you know.
encourage it.
But the conservation easement doesn't get allowed tree.
I'm not talking about
No, right,
conservation.
no, just the.
That's gonna be
Rest of it,
protected.
Right.
Yeah, but yeah, just to make a statement that, you know, with regards to each lot,
Yeah.
that
So for
attention to
example-
detail.
For this lot, and I think this page, which you can't see, it's just so busy, you can't really see it. But for this lot,
Or, yeah, just,
is that even showing the lot? No.
I think your first one that had less lines was.
Is it at the very bottom? That's what it shows the lots. It doesn't show the houses, it shows the lots.
Oh, yeah. Getting a real education.
This one, think about a 50-foot buffer there for the wetland is being conserved with the easement. This is the existing house, so there's not much there.
right.
This one's only got 5 feet here.
Wow.
So they could apply to the Wetlands Commission to encroach on that 100 feet. This is showing the 100.
Okay.
Well, they're not gonna be able to build with that far.
So this one's
Yeah.
pretty well protected, although this is 100 feet here, this line.
But they wanna do 50.
50's better than 5. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
really, that's kind of up
Can that
to you.
be changed
because-
or is that, can we have that
Yes, this is
changed to like?
proposed.
that's
So
proposed.
that's what you're commenting on.
Yeah,
The
okay,
whole
like,
proposal.
would it be possible to suggest that be, increased to 50 feet there?
Did you guys consider that, Peter, or you just were looking at it strictly from
We're looking at wetlands.
wetlands?
That's
Proper.
the planning commission's.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay,
They could comment on it, but they couldn't.
Yeah.
okay, so we can comment back to you, the planning.
Plan, yeah.
So
So-
on the drawing, on the proposal, there's nothing over, it, but that's
Yeah, why are they
could be
asking?
misleading.
No, because they're gonna put 2 there, 2 in that section, 2.
Yeah, I mean,
Well,
they're on there, it's the layer.
Well,
But they're not up there.
They're not a few,
Yeah.
but this is the whole.
Yep, they're gonna be 2, they're splitting that.
No, that's
No,
No,
this is one, this is one, so they can,
one there, 2 in there.
right,
2
Yeah.
over here.
it's only 3. So,
There's 6 in the end, they're gonna add
Existing.
3 new lots.
Three new lines.
Pre-existing.
3 existing and 3 new, right? But by splitting the other ones.
So why are they proposing to reduce the size of the buffer? If they're not building anywhere near it?
Why are they proposing only a 5-foot conservation easement?
Yeah.
I think, I'm guessing now, I'm assuming, that the 5-foot easement is on these 2 wetlands because they were not as high value as the other one. They still do have value, but I suspect it's probably more attractive to the buyer to have less restriction on the property.
Well, sure.
I assume
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
why they made it smaller.
But then the question is if they got enough area of the existing to build,
Right. then they
Without
could-
why are they doing that?
Yeah.
That's what. I think they're splitting it. They're trying to squeeze another.
You think you're
from-
gonna try and put another lot?
Sure, that's why they want the,
How big is that lot?
They're not allowed to do
Is
that.
They're in the 100-foot setback.
They can't.
They can't.
Yeah,
build.
yeah, they can't. I don't, I mean, this is.
Total is 6.6 acres.
so could we,
3 lots, so yeah, two.
So that one near the 100-foot buffer is a 2-acre lot? So they could actually come back and ask to.
sure.
I don't
So
think so,
the-
because it's, you have to subtract out the wetlands.
Right, but if you reduce
So
the
that
size of
would
the
count.
buffer,
I don't think they have enough. room.
So there's
I don't think
difference
they do.
between, because the buffer's the buffer, the 5 foot addition to the wetland delineation as part of the easement, they're two separate things. So they're not reducing the size of the buffer. Buffer is buffer.
Right,
The 5 feet
Okay.
is, so one of the things we could do would be to say, split the difference and say, we want you to include 50 feet outside the wetland as the easement,
For the conservation
or the
easement.
conservation easement, because
Mhm.
that's not negotiable.
mhm,
Yeah.
Whereas the 100 foot is negotiable. You know, the way it is now, it's negotiable up to 5 feet within the wetlands.
right.
If you
Yeah,
had 50
yeah.
feet outside these wetlands,
Mhm.
as part of the easement, then that would not be negotiable, that would be protected.
Right.
And they could negotiate within the outside 50 feet.
I see what
Mhm.
you're
So
saying.
I'm trying to figure out.
Well,
what
they're
we can
writing
say
off
that
those
has
two
has
pieces.
meaning.
That-
right, no,
Yeah,
exactly,
Can't have that
exactly.
on this side, because that's gonna encroach on the road. This has gotta be 5 on
Right,
each side.
right.
Oh, yeah.
But on,
It's not-
yeah, it's over there.
Also
Yeah.
on the property line.
And that already
Yeah.
exists, right? So they're not really increasing the size of that road.
No.
They
But at
have to
least it would
widen
be that-
To make it, to make it,
That's a
meet
good
the
idea.
regulations for roads.
Yeah.
They actually allowed them to make it a little smaller, so we have less. So it's really the smallest
Mhm.
they could do. And still have these road in place.
Mhm.
In this order.
It's basically a dead end road.
So can we
Cul-de-sac.
Yeah.
propose anything here? This is the existing house already, right? Can something be added to that property? Or is that, do they not own this piece of? You know what I mean? This is not the part that's being subdivided, right? That's the
Right.
Well,
existing house.
the new lot line is here,
Okay,
so this will become theirs.
right.
I'm not sure.
I mean, would it be
looks-
possible to,
it
if we
looks like they
recommended
have-
50 feet?
This is, they're showing the current limit
Oh,
of
Okay,
disturbance,
okay.
and it looks like this is all woods right now.
Yeah, so that's
So-
already protected more or less
Well,
because of this.
Because they're,
policy.
Yeah,
because of what they've done.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
not gonna build, I'm sorry, down in, it's up here that they're proposing
Yeah.
to build. So we could say, because this is the proposed buildable piece, that we extend. that
Extend
easement
this
out
part,
at
50
least,
at least 50 feet.
or 50 feet's a lot, they're probably not gonna want to do that, but we can certainly consider, or at least 25, I don't know, 20, it's better than
That's what it is
15 or
out
5,
here.
rather 5, it's only 5 feet right now, which is nothing.
Nothing, yes.
Tells me.
This to make it.
Yeah. I'd go for the 50. I
I
mean,
mean, let's make it so.
Mm.
I'm just. The only one.
Well, you got 20 days, because you gotta submit it by the 28th.
Oh, yeah, yes, we don't have to,
So given the proximity to the marshland in the south, if we have to have an awareness of it, especially the impact of cutting the trees and then having more drainage.
no, if it were cutting trees in the tidal wetlands, they would be involved, but no, it's only activity in the wetlands. Or discharges into the wetlands or something like that.
well,
Yeah,
think
I
just
like that idea. the 50.
considering the amount of time, how about, does anyone want to take a stab at making a draft of, because let's see, I'm just trying to take copious notes. One, we said a couple different things, but, one would be,
Save as many trees.
yeah,
That was-
save trees
Do a minimum.
within property building, yeah.
Do a minimum, yeah.
We know the easement restrictions, they can't. And then with that second tidal pool, whatever that one is called, that one I think is bound by that property, but I guess we could still try to get them to
Yeah.
push both of them out.
Or you could just say attempt to
Attempt to.
expand conservation easement to 50 feet.
Yeah,
of-
I think yeah,
Yeah.
I think we just need to make it,
Yeah,
5 is too small. That's
5
the
is too,
worst.
yeah,
Right.
that's nothing. That's
Yeah.
nothing.
So like the
Yeah,
half
it's
the
like
width
the
of this
table, right?
here.
I know. What's the point?
Yeah. So you want to expand it, it could at least up, expand desirably up to 50.
Yeah, desirably. There we go.
And it's gonna be some
signage-
compromise 25 or something.
Yeah. Right.
Signage every 50 feet. Marking the zone.
Oh,
Yeah, that's important.
which I thought they had to do.
Prosperity.
Yeah. Is there anything else? I think there was much else that we could.
The only thing I just bring their attention is the attention to the drainage. Because talking about a little rain garden or anything, because everything's gonna end up in this spot and down there, and that is already overloading Chalker, and in town already have major watershed problems.
Yeah, no, I know.
So just the downstream, what's this impact gonna be, what they change?
Yeah, they made some comment on the times that, and it's been excessive runoff from rain, storms, whatever it. I think there's not great drainage now, and the proposing what's putting in is supposed to be better, but still, that doesn't mean it's still gonna all go out.
Maybe better drainage to get the
From
water
there,
out, but where's it going?
Exactly, yeah.
It actually could be exacerbating a problem
Yeah.
downstream.
Okay, no, I think that's worth a
Yeah.
statement making. Yeah.
So it's a page of comments, basically. Okay,
Wanna do it?
what's that?
Did you
Oh,
wanna do
no,
it?
I don't.
No,
Okay.
you were great at the last one.
I know,
I know.
but this, I'm just so overwhelmed.
Yeah,
I
that's true.
have
You
the
just got done
problem.
telling me, yeah.
I also have a cousin dying. I'm spending a lot of time with the family. He's gonna die this week, so I've been,
Sorry.
and I
Yeah.
was pretty close with him, so.
Oh.
So this is just a bad
Yeah,
time
no,
for
that's-
that.
Sorry, I gave you the eye.
Otherwise, I'd be happy to do it. But I'd be happy to review if somebody wanted to do a first draft, so.
I don't know if I compromised being on inland wetlands by doing that.
I don't think so. I mean, they're separate things here.
Yeah, if you, I mean, and I'm happy to partner with you. I'm just thinking of
Of course, I
the
don't
time
have to
too,
take-
because of my. I mean, we,
Conservation Commission member.
Yeah, also,
Representative to the Wetlands
Right.
Commission.
Yeah.
So you're conservation
Okay.
first.
okay.
there you go. Thank you, Lynette.
Yeah.
Want to take a stab?
Yeah, I don't know if it's gonna be much different than what you already wrote there, but
Well, no, that's okay. Yeah, I
Just
don't.
gotta
think we
make
have to
paragraphs up.
Our votes. I mean, I think just make it, I'm a succinct
page
person
or less.
anyway. I don't,
Yeah.
we don't need to make a dissertation here because we would send it to you, to planning. Who are we sending this?
Well, I'm away next week.
Or, you know what I mean? It's
done.
going to.
Planning Commission,
Planning
report to,
Commission.
yes, planning,
Planning
this is
Commission.
send
What is
report,
it?
7/28, 20 days,
Cause I could get it on to letterhead.
okay.
Yeah.
So I'll-
Next week, I'll be in the week.
I'll do it
after.
within the next couple of days and I'll do it as an email or something like that.
Yeah,
Send it to both of you
okay.
and you guys can decide.
Yeah, and I can,
What you wanna
share
do.
with, if anybody else to share.
And I can review it. I-
Yeah.
Okay, why don't you draft
Okay,
it, send it
yeah.
to me and I'll send it out,
Everything,
anybody else can
yeah.
put in their 2
Good.
cents.
Okay,
And
Like
then
we
I
did the
think
letter.
Yeah, I'll make it all nice in
Put a letterhead.
A Word document, and send it to you to make it easily.
Yeah, after next
Put on
week,
the-
I can put it on letter.
Yeah.
Sign
Gotta do it in a
sign
week,
for you.
basically.
yeah, I'll do it before Friday.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
just,
And I'm around, I'm not going away or anything.
just for the minutes, then the comments were save as many trees as possible, attempt to expand conservation easement to desirably 50 feet. Zone marking every 50 feet and pay attention to drainage and try to limit downstream impact.
So
Pretty
next,
good.
extend the conservation easement to, 50, desirably 50 feet beyond the limit of the wetland.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, yeah, well, but yeah, I mean, I think, I think for
Just for the
Krista's
minutes.
minutes, yeah, I think.
Yeah.
Because it's not the official. I mean, it's official
Right,
minutes
but
from our,
that's-
they're
that-
not the official letter that will.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're right, it'd be
Good point.
much more. And that will be in the record on website in there with the town, so. All right. Thank you, Lynette, for leading that discussion and yeah, the interim, I mean, there is a lot of information there, but I'm gonna go back and look at the drainage stuff just to sort of There is a ton of detail in it, not that I would understand it all, but
Just give me that page before you go.
Yeah.
take a picture.
That's fine too.
Okay, all right, so moving on to regular business. Put that away. Minutes from our last meeting in June were sent out. Any comments, edits,
Okay.
corrections from anyone? I don't think I saw anything. Do you have a motion to approve the minutes from June 10th?
So moved.
Second, Nina, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstain? Okay. Minutes approved. Correspondence and announcements. I don't have anything. Anything from anyone or Lynette, anything from your end?
No,
I think so.
nothing that wouldn't go under another
Oh.
agenda item.
Is there anything we can throw it? Or just like in general? Can I,
Oh, yeah,
okay,
yeah, absolutely.
can I, okay. So there's, this thing has been bothering me for a while. So I live like in South Cove, which is like off of Maple. Do you know where that is?
Yep.
Okay.
You
So
know
That's where I live.
Yeah.
I think we're probably neighbors and we don't
Oh,
know.
okay. I live on Southview. I don't know.
Oh, look for, yeah, and I'm just right off Maple.
Okay.
But
okay.
anyway,
So at the end of my street, there's a marsh. And my neighbors have a tendency to cut down the area, but I don't even think it's their property. And they do this every year, and there's like so many animals that live there, so many birds that I see going there. It's just like really upsetting. They've been doing this forever. I've lived in, yeah, I've,
Do they cut the marsh grasses? So,
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that-
I
you know if
actually,
it's Phragmites or?
I don't know. I have pictures. But I'm pretty sure it's illegal because I don't think they own the property. It's like the area across the street. And I think they just want a better view, even though they already have like a really good view.
I know where you're at.
But down in there, this is it. Like you can see. That's how
yeah.
tall the grass is, and then like they cut it all down. They cut down a lot. And it's sad because I see so many animals go in there and they don't even own the property. I don't know which houses it is, but they're like.
Well, that,
way
yeah,
to
Lynette, I
report
mean,
it.
that's, yeah, I mean, I think people do call you about stuff like that. I mean, call your office.
Yes, so, well, I don't know, I mean, this is, recorded and all that. I don't know if we want to call out
Yeah.
who owns it at this time. But do you want to shoot me an email and tell me
Separately,
the
yeah.
addresses and I'll
Follow
look
up.
into it. I can see who owns it. You're saying it's not theirs, maybe it's state-owned or town-owned,
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
probably.
Which it is within the wetlands, that's state jurisdiction for cutting things. However, if it's Phragmites, which is invasive, I believe they're allowed to cut that down. So.
And I think you need a permit because
Mhm.
we've done it. I
Oh.
mean, I have a place we
Chemicals or
paid,
cutting?
well, I paid somebody to do both.
Chemicals,
and they-
definitely.
Yeah, and well, and I'm, because the full treatment is cutting chemical, cutting like over 4 years to really kill the Phragmites, and they got permits from DEEP and BDD. I mean, it was lots of approvals, like you can't really, it would be great if they paid for getting rid of the Phragmites and do it properly, but I found out that when you cut it, it just grows back
That's
even worse.
Even that,
If you
right?
don't keep treating it and doing it the right way. and all
That's
that sort of
right.
thing. But if you know, if you can go on the town website on those maps. I don't know if you've ever gone, but you can see who owns that space in there too. But Lynette can help you with that. Because it should delineate, I know in front of my marsh, some of it is land trust and some of it is state. It's very mixed, all in South Cove area. So none of it is privately owned.
And I live on the other side of the pump bank and I own part of the marsh that's behind my house, so it varies. So
Okay.
it's
Oh,
good to
okay.
look at the maps.
Yeah, and the map will show you.
Okay.
But Lynette can help with that and tell you.
Yeah,
No,
we
you
should-
can either. Okay.
I'll look into it.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Here's my report for the Connecticut River Gateway Commission.
Oh, okay.
Thanks. Bye, everybody.
Although, well, can you stay the next thing real quick,
Yeah.
election of vice chair.
Oh, okay, sure.
So, this came up at the last time and we do need a new vice chair because Larry had stepped off the, commission. We didn't, well, we had a quorum, but we really didn't. We were missing 3 of you guys and we didn't think it was right to not have everybody here to see if there was somebody who wanted to step up to be vice chair. I will share, Nina, you volunteered, but you are secretary right now. The vice chair really just covers when I'm not here. I mean, just need to run a meeting. There's really, every once in a while, like Larry and I would sometimes talk over something, but most of the time it's whatever comes up at this meeting. So it's really, anytime I can't make it. And it's actually nice backup so that there's a quorum or, when I'm not here to have somebody run a meeting. So would anyone like to volunteer the vice chair?
Nominate Nina.
I only did it if nobody else wanted to do it.
Okay, no, wait, that's fair enough, but then we'll need somebody to take over secretary.
That's right, you can't have two positions.
So yeah, no, you can't, you're great, but
No, 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 I don't want to.
you don't do it yet. So, are you fine with being vice chair? And then and then I would just ask if somebody, and then secretary again, that's been,
Krista takes the minutes and sends out the.
Mm.
I mean, I think, I was initially the secretary and I started, doing the action tracker just because I'm ex-project manager and I'm real kooky about stuff like that. But I think you just do the role, whatever makes sense, following up on, when, drawing a blank on her name, Karen, I just saw it not long ago at the fair. Yeah, when Karen was doing it, she was sort of trying to keep track of stuff. Really, it's really just when we have major things going on, it's just helping us to stay organized. But otherwise, you're not doing that. So, do you like to be secretary? You were kind of doing it for
That's right.
our fair.
Okay.
All right.
And it make it what you want it to be. There's no expectation here. I think it's just, yeah. And
Krista's doing the lion's share of the secretary's.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I was gonna say, you gotta.
Yeah.
we have an excellent
Orders at her.
secretary. No, that would be, yeah, and it is. We've been all of these meetings.
So do they have to be elected or just appointed?
We need
You have to
to,
vote.
we have to vote.
All right.
Can we formally vote today? I mean, it
Sure.
shouldn't have to be a roster, you can-
No. You can-
Yeah, I mean, you don't have secretary on there, but I don't think that's really a problem because sort of
I mean, the minutes can reflect that.
replacing.
Yeah,
secretary.
so can I make a proposal?
Sure, you can nominate.
Or nominate, all right, so I'd like to nominate Nina Regan to be the new vice chair of the Conservation Commission and for Laurie Pavlos to be the new secretary.
Second,
All in favor?
All right.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstain? Sarah? Well, you count, yeah, we're all here.
Everybody's here.
Everybody's here. Yeah, no, thank you. All right, so now we have a full, now you can leave. Thank you, Nina.
Thank you, of course.
No, it is appreciated to have, I know, I mean, Larry was great, but he missed a lot and there were, I don't mean to be critical, he was wonderful, but it was sometimes hard for me every once in a while when I really would be calling into meetings from being out west and sometimes it'd be nice to take a break. Like something.
Absolutely.
All right. great.
Thanks. See you.
Okay. All right, so let's see. Yeah, let's try to keep us a little more on track and we should be able to get through the rest of the agenda straight away. Committees,
Peter.
the Inland Wetlands didn't meet, and they're not meeting again this month. So our next meeting's in August.
Nice.
yeah, I see.
Easy.
Yeah. Our last big meeting was where we declined the authorization of the development on Sheffield. Subsequently, a lawsuit has been filed against the Inland Wetlands by the contractor.
Oh, good.
We'll see what happens. That's coming up the end of the month, I think. I think there's a court date, July 20 something,
I'm not sure if that's court date, but
something.
to return a record had to be
I see.
by then or something.
Yeah.
I don't know, the lawyers are doing it
Yeah.
at this point.
I know. Thank God.
Yeah.
We won't have to like bail you out, will we?
Can I keep my hands in front?
Find you in the wetlands.
Yeah. That's New Jersey.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
All right, and yeah, preserve ad hoc, we did not meet either. So there, yeah, there's really nothing new to report from, for the status quo at this point. Land trust, Lori?
So Land Trust had, a big disappointment, or if they were, they just finished raising all the money they needed to purchase the property next to the racket club. The racket club was selling. And, it's 14 acres, and they were all set to go, and a developer, I think it's a developer, made another offer on the land. And originally the Rackley Club really wanted it to be given or sold to the land trust. They contacted land trust first because they don't really want anything on the land that's gonna impede their enjoyment of their property. So this offer came in substantially higher, and this is it's a membership organization, so the members voted it. If they get the substantially higher money, then can take care of the roof and whatever else. It makes a big difference to the membership, and enough people it seems like they're interested in that. So the land trust is really disappointed, obviously. I mean, this property is in the watershed for the Ayers Point Land Trust land. And it's 14 acres, has a 6-acre pond, extensive wetlands, unique plant life. This is from a letter that John wrote to Manette, John Ogren, from the Land Trust. Pond head are the headwaters of Hyde Creek, which that's what goes on to the Ayers Point property. So they think that probably property should be limited to maybe 2 or 3 lots. There's a lot because there's the setback and the pond and everything. So they were just looking for any other considerations that would be used to protect that land. So I just took that letter that was to Manette and I'm bringing it to us as well because
That's sad.
yeah, it was tough. They worked on
a long time on that.
Yeah.
Mm.
And they have now, it's a separate thing. They've got to now go back to all the donors and
Oh,
Yeah.
right.
Can they
so
use the money for something else?
they have to go to the donors and
And
ask
Oh,
because the donors gave it for that purpose and that's something that.
yeah.
I wonder if the person who outbid for the land trust, who wants that parcel, if they wanted it for access only, if they could gift the rest of it for self-custody to the land trust, with the pond part. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe all is not lost.
Right.
If that's why they want.
Would the land trust be interested in less property?
Oh, yeah, they just wanted to protect that area, so.
Wow.
All right.
Okay. Joe,
Yeah.
Parks and Rec?
So I have a question. I get pretty detailed notes. Do you just want information impacts us, or do you want, I've been giving you if you're just interested, what's.
We started, actually, we didn't always have somebody on Parks and Rec, but I think it started a number of years ago when there was, when we were looking at putting in a rack for the kayaks and stuff, we realized there could be overlap with Parks and Rec. So I think use your judgment, which I think it's information because we're not connected, but we are. We have
Yeah,
similar
I just
interests.
summarize all the details, but,
Yeah.
so I'll do that. It's just that, we learn what's going on.
Yeah.
All right, so real quick, under the new business, they had, remember the shore she shad vendor that was at Harvey's Beach? They sold.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, they sold out to Sandbar Grill LLC. So the new owners came and they had to get reapproval again because now they're a new owner. But everything's the same. They just bought all their equipment and everything. Same menu and everything, so nobody panicked. Okay. All right. The town did receive what's called a STEEP grant, Small Town Economic Assistance Program for $667,948. That money was earmarked to renovate, upgrade Ferry Road soccer field.
Oh, yeah, yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
that's
so
good.
that's nice.
That's a good move.
Mhm.
They made progress on the Rotary Club Peace Pole. They did pick the color, whitewashed look on wood. And they're now deciding on the languages. So Trent Gerber is gonna help decide. Nobody could decide between Chinese, Spanish, which there's a lot of languages. It's got 4 sides. That's the problem. One is English, I can tell you that. Okay. Then a resident inquired about having a nurse on staff at the old Saybrook camps, because but it's a costly, and there was an extended discussion, but they decided to do a little more research whether it's really needed to have a nurse. They haven't had many major incidents in the past, but so there was one resident very concerned they should have a nurse. That's where it is. All right, old business, real quick. Full-time beach hours started in June. There's a review now of what's called the Clark Community Park is being renovated, and they have a concept plan packet, and anybody's ever interested in some of it. And a field alternative plan submitted by the Little League. So they're trying to reconcile both these plans, get the best possible layout. Okay, and it's tabled till August. Ongoing problem, Saybrook Point Inn employees are taking up public spaces in the public lot at Saybrook Point instead of parking because it's close to their entrance. So they're trying to decide what to do about it. So in the end, 2 commission members are going to talk to the general manager again and see if they can kind of regulate that. And they decided finally to talk to the chair of the harbor manager about locating the donated kayak racks at North Cove. That's where they're gonna end up.
Oh,
Wow.
yeah, yeah.
Is that you guys?
No, I don't know who did, no.
North Cove? No, I meant, is that impact? That's where you are?
Yeah, well, it was always, that was actually one of Larry's pet projects. He really wanted to do that, and we just couldn't find a place. There was a lot of, some controversy on the initial place to put it and make it. I think the problem for us where we were looking was there was never any parking. Major.
Yeah, that was brought up too,
And so I
but I
think
think that's what they're gonna end up.
Yeah, I mean, and really you think about places. 20 cars going, but who knows?
Yeah, and no preserve updates. We didn't have any discussion. Okay, that's it.
So they're gonna put the racks at the boat launch at Norfolk?
I'm not that familiar with it, but I just know
It's
that
gotta be done, yeah, either.
they gotta get permission. Harbor management has to approve,
Yeah,
so
I would put somewhere down there.
I guess.
So would it be near the yacht
There's
club?
already, the town dock already has that.
They're gonna have the one down ship.
Yeah, but
I don't know,
not,
I don't know.
but they
why.
wanted, we've always wanted to put it more, because those really,
I think that's got a waiting list.
yeah, I think that was the problem, I think it was Larry's thought was just could use more.
Well, that's where they're going.
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh. I'm gonna have to tell him that.
Yeah. get them,
Somewhere.
contact them, get your spot.
So by the preserve, we're talking about the Saybrook Point land piece or something else?
No, this is where they manage the park in Old Saybrook, the
Oh, yeah,
preserve of the
okay.
bridge and cleaning it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what they're talking there. They keep that all up, Park and Rec.
Hey, so let's see, Gateway Commission, Nina just wrote pending, but no new referrals for Old Saybrook, pending appeal by the Gateway Commission. and an old Saybrook, two-bedroom decision, 201 North Cove, application, division. I'm not sure what her writing is. I think, oh yeah, so they want to put in a swimming pool, was granted a variance for structure in the 100-foot structure. Structural and riparian buffer setback. The trial hearing was held at the beginning of June, and the judge has 120 days to make a decision. Oh, the decision is expected no later than October. All right, so they put in an application on 201 North Cove Road. Yeah, to have a variance. Yeah, there's a lot of, it's interesting. It's right along the water back there. Anyway, somebody's put in that application for some.
I think that already happened and the ZBA granted it, and I think the Gateway Commission is suing them.
Is what?
They granted the variance.
Oh.
Even though 100-foot riparian buffer.
Oh, okay, she
I think
didn't,
that's what.
oh, pending appeal by the Gateway. Okay. It's hard. to
Okay.
forget which word. Okay, that was that. Sorry, I didn't do a very good job of reading Nina's note. And let's see, Cornelia, well, I know you're not in school, but we always have you down for update from the student rep, anything.
Okay, we had a hike June 14th at a conservation somewhere near the transfer station. I honestly had no idea where I was. It was like, sometimes there's parts of Old Saybrook, like I have no idea. So it's Old Saybrook, but somewhere deep in the woods. That was fun. It's like 10, 15 students showed up.
Oh.
And we had muffins afterwards and bakery stuff.
Which part?
Which part?
No, I mean, where'd you park? I'm trying to figure out what's near the train.
Boca Road?
It
I
was-
know, was it off of Boca Road? Yeah.
I think, yeah, it was.
Yeah, it's probably, there's that little.
Yeah, but it's like you keep going down that road. That's like it's. Are you thinking of that lake that's there?
It's a little pond.
Yeah.
It's all like,
It's not that, it's farther down the road.
Oh.
somewhere down Gulf Road.
Yeah.
If you go far, far, far down, then you're in the preserve, right? Where the railroad tracks are, which is the preserve from that. You walk down the track.
I
don't know if there's-
I'm not sure.
Get to the preserve, but I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure. Like, it's right there, but I don't know. What you need to cross over.
I'm trying to visualize on Boca. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, well.
Okay, all righty.
And Lynette, sustainable.
I don't really have any updates for you. We're working on the application, documenting lots of stuff, but I don't really have any exciting updates for you this time.
Okay,
Okay.
So,
that makes it sweet.
Is Whole Foods still happening?
the last I've heard, they are working to get through Brad in the health district
Mhm.
on the septic.
Septic
system
system,
capacity. Yes, I think they're still kind of stuck with that.
I
They
also
are-
heard,
It's gonna be
yeah,
small.
smaller. Maybe you
Where
shared
did
that
you hear
last.
that?
Because we get a report from the representative at our meeting at the coalition. So, because Chalker has a direct communication with the Whole Foods rep. And then what we heard is they're gonna do a neighborhood one because they couldn't meet the restrictions.
A
They're gonna-
smaller,
Smaller
store.
store that doesn't need as many spaces and they can meet the septic systems and all that. So it's gonna be what's called a neighborhood Whole Foods.
Okay.
They're still moving ahead. I mean, it's officially still moving, but they still gotta get over the hurdles, like you said. They haven't been approved yet for all of them.
They certainly haven't submitted anything. We didn't officially know, and we heard that here, I think. We didn't know the neighborhood school.
Well,
Sure,
again,
so-
maybe it's unofficial, but
Yeah,
that was
it is.
reported to us. Yes, yeah. Yeah, it's a big hurdle. Everybody knows the situation, I guess, that they have the problem with the drainage and so parking and because it was a big store and the land is limited where they can do.
Yeah.
So, good luck.
Okay, open space monitoring. No need to sponsor
So-
anything.
Well, Nina and I are working on, what's the title of it?
I would say it's kind of, it's not a complete open space plan. It's a component of an open space plan where specific parcels are
So like the
prioritized.
8 parcels that we talked about last time.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Mhm.
One of which is the property that the, Drive Club was trying to,
Mm.
I mean, the land
Empty,
trust was
yeah.
trying to acquire. And designate what about those properties puts them in the category of desirable for open space. Lynette kindly gave us an example document that another town has done, and other towns have done this thing. It just organizes our thoughts on this and it explains why we choose certain parcels, so, and lays them out, so. It's a little easier for us to
Yeah.
have something.
Okay. All right.
And hopefully that document can be used for other acquisition, not that there's a big fund for acquisition, but if there were opportunities.
I mean, if this, I'm always wondering what kind of, we don't have leverage. So, this is just this is a document that if we had already had it approved, we could say, well, actually that property is designated by the town, and the town has actually donated some money toward the land trust acquiring that for open space, and it's one of our properties that we've identified for open space. It adds a little weight, but nothing more than that, so anyway.
Or if the town were going to apply for a grant, the background work was done.
Yeah,
to
right. Yeah, right.
establish why these particular parcels are more important
Yeah.
than others.
Yeah, no, that's a good point, because whether we would want to put whatever park, Yeah. No, I think it's a nice idea. Kind of gives you that, the criteria of what makes a parcel really optimal open space. Okay, good effort. Deb, the garden.
Yeah, so I wasn't here last time. I'm not sure how much you covered, but I'll just say briefly what we've done since,
No, I covered, I mean, it was
most
in the
of it.
minutes, but what's it?
yeah.
That we planted new stuff.
Yeah, so,
And yeah, so I
Yeah.
said we planted new plants and we got the metal signs. And
so I was just gonna
so.
Going with that. Okay, yeah. So we planted 24 plants. We did a lot of weeding before that and during. Yeah, a lot of great help from Lori, Peter, Chris, Dave King, Bonnie Penders, and myself. So anyway, it was great. And since then, Chris and I have been taking turns watering it when there hasn't been rain. And then eventually Chris found out that the town is doing the sprinkler system 3 times a week. Because I went one morning during the heat wave at 6 a.m. to see if there was any water happening, because it was seeming very dry to me. So it was my big concern. And there wasn't any that day. And then we found out it's just 3 times a week. But now it's been mulched. So hopefully that will hold the water in. And I guess my big question was how much watering we should be continuing to doing ourselves, since the sprinkler is not every day now, which, I'm not sure if that was their decision or our request, because we have
It
been,
was our request, because when you asked me, because we were so worried.
We were worried it was getting overwatered.
So I thought, don't make me go back to Ray and tell him to water more.
No, I don't think it should be watered more.
Okay, it was just with the new plants, we were worried,
You want
right?
them to establish, so
Yeah.
that makes some sense to,
Okay. But yeah, I mean, I just was kind of worried because like at the bottoms, some of the inkberry and the mountain mint were a little bit yellow down at the bottom when it was really so hot, and but
How long do they water for?
I don't know.
I don't recall.
Maybe you can hand water those.
Yeah, I mean.
Well, I've been
That's
doing that, but
what you do,
it's, I mean, I was going over, and it's a lot of work because you got to go over to the golf course and get the water and, yeah,
I
so.
want to get it established, but I think Bonnie, so.
She said 6 weeks.
Yeah.
To establish it, and
Yeah.
we're almost at the end of that,
Yeah.
Yeah.
so.
And I think, between I know Francine, you volunteered to help and stuff, and I think Bonnie's gone down there and marked all the plants, right? Or she's marked.
Yes, she got
Yes,
the
there-
pen in and she put the ones that are native and
Yeah.
she's gonna do more labels for the other plants. She just did the ones that were new first and now she's gonna do the other ones, so. But I just stopped by there today and it's looking really good.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
haven't been down, so I have to share that Deb and I were communicating and so your poor little fennel is like taking over the garden. And so that fennel may kind of maybe find its a new home at the end of the season. But I went down there to start to weed and lo and behold, Freddie Pastor was there with his crew weeding and ready to mulch. So I was like, oh. So they got it all done. Yeah, it was like perfect timing. And he was very nice. I talked to him and I made sure that, he was gonna, I said, yeah, no, pull all that stuff out. Pull all that fennel out. So,
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, they did a great job of weeding and now with the mulch, so it should control things.
So I think he, from as best as I know, when they're down there, I think when he sees, he'll do some weeding, but.
Yeah,
keep an eye
yeah.
on it as well.
Okay, so for watering, I mean, I can continue doing it, until for another couple weeks, then I'm gonna be gone. Well, I'm gonna be gone for 5 days now, but probably should be okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's,
Are we far enough along? that
Yeah.
We don't
I
have to
think-
worry.
I mean,
Okay.
if we have like a real, like no rain for days and days, I'll
Yeah.
pop down there and grab
Yeah.
my husband and get 2 watering cans. I mean, a couple of them kind of get it done, so.
Yeah,
It's not, and they're nice about the guide. I just tell them that they're mini golf and Conservation Commission.
right,
Yeah.
right. Kevin and I did that too. They were like very friendly about it, so.
Yeah,
that's fine.
it's around the corner and there's a lovely
Yeah.
hose.
Okay, great.
I was wondering if,
2 minutes.
are you and I got,
I have another appointment.
okay, never mind, I'll ask my questions. Not important.
We got a couple minutes yet.
Oh, quick, all right, quick. If the watering is really hard, is there some art that you can, like with a big tank on it, not too big?
Or you
but
could wear a
can handle
backpack.
it, But like,
Oh,
like a hand truck type thing with a tank, let's put it down, you can fill it once and wheel it
Yeah.
over instead of having to
Do.
haul the.
You mean like leave it there?
No.
you couldn't
Well,
leave it.
Yeah,
there.
it-
No, you
it's-
can leave it there, I'm just.
Yeah.
thinking that
It's
maybe-
really manageable. It's like
is.
usually with 2 big watering cans and then you fill them up at the second time. I mean, Kevin goes over with me when we do it and we've just been filling them up a second time. We've only been watering the new plants, not
Yeah,
the existing ones.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
I think
no,
we're
we wouldn't
good.
do the whole, yeah.
Yeah.
So to do the new plants, you're right. I think we have to do a whole garden. That would be.
Yeah,
But I think
yeah,
the-
that would
the- the,
Difficult.
Depending on the kind of sprinkler system that they've got there,
Mhm.
they could tap into it with a T and put an actual spigot into that line.
right.
You really
That would
don't
be
want to
nice, wouldn't
it?
overwater the native plants. That's really, that's what Bonnie said. I mean, my natives, I've got Monarda, I've got the, native Monarda, and I've got butterfly weed, and I've got swan milkweed, I've got all sorts of stuff, and I don't water them at all.
Mhm.
And they're going bonkers.
Okay.
Amazing.
All right,
That's what
Yeah.
they're built for.
Yeah.
But you do need to help them get,
just get
Start
going.
going, yeah.
Right,
but,
right.
that's.
We're almost-
That's
we're
what's
almost-
good about them.
Right.
Right, yeah.
Okay,
Hey.
good. I just needed that reassurance because before it was mulched, I would go and the water was just running off the side. It was so dry that nothing was even going in the
Yeah.
ground. And I was like, seems very dry to me, but. Okay,
Yeah, so if you guys haven't been down, yeah.
Yeah,
it's looking
yeah, have a
pretty
peek.
good.
and I owe you pictures, Lynette. I've got so many.
Okay.
I will get them to you. Yeah, yeah.
All right, that'd be great.
Yeah.
And I'll update the website.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Okay, all
All
right.
right. Yeah, I think there's not too much left here. Tree preservation, I think the only thing I would comment on, if anybody's noticed, I didn't get to the last SOS pre-meeting. I had company, but just as an FYI, because Carolyn and I were in communication. I will,
Okay,
yeah,
thank you.
I will.
See you guys.
If you notice where they are doing all of the tearing up on the highway down on Boston Post Road, they cut down like 7 or 8 trees right in front of that like yellow 2-story house. I reached out to Carl and he said it is because of the sidewalk that they're gonna put in there
Yeah.
and they are gonna replace the trees. So he said, no, that was, they're working hard on putting those sidewalks in and being on, Vista board and knowing how many student members walk, I'm supporting the sidewalk. So, but it was a shame. They were probably planted too close to begin with.
They
from
weren't.
Day one.
Yeah, there's a lot of it.
really were, but anyway, if you happen to notice, it was
The ones on Boston, I'm sorry, the trees that were cut down in front of that,
yellow.
yes, okay. Yes, just noticed
In
that.
front of what?
It's like a yellow two-story office building. It looks like it's made to look like a colonial house sort of thing, but it's kind of innocuous. on the-
Between Bound and Chuck Beach
Oh,
Road.
yeah.
Yeah.
Before, like, as you going down there, you pass Himalayan Cafe and
Yeah.
it's. Yeah, I went by when they were doing it. I was like,
Oh, my God.
Carl probably had so many emails from people. He's like. So anyway, I just wanted to share that with you because I found out why they cut down the trees. And then just quickly, I think the conservation circular, the events magazine, the last time we talked about doing an article for August and making a note about the pollinator pathway signs, because we did decide to continue to sell them. I think, we weren't here, but we thought, when we have the so we could write about them there. And I think I think we also thought we would, because of that time, because it's the fourth quarter. Yeah, it would be the fourth quarter events. No, Q3. We could still just do another reminder of dark skies, do a little bit of write up about that. So my time's starting to free up a little bit because my nonprofit is dropping off a little bit in what I was doing. So I'll try to I'll try to write up that quickly and send it out to you guys for review. And I think maybe next time, we haven't done a circular in a long time, and it might be nice to try to do one in the fall, winter, when maybe people have more time. We can just pitch in. And what we've done in the past, Francine, it is like I don't know, 2-4 page kind of fold out. I mean, it's mostly online, but we just write various articles, whatever things we're wanting to tell people about and educate them about. Done Osprey and all kinds of stuff. So
When Lori was talking about the document you're creating about open space, I think that would be information people would like to know. So if you can fit that in to either the events magazine for Q4 or in the circular, I think that'd be really interesting.
a little blurb on.
And it would give them, that's to an open space and maybe wanting to donate.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea, because I know it is one of our remits. I mean, if you look at what a conservation commission is supposed to be, some of the things they say from the state level, it is monitoring open space, and it's sort of an active level, which we've always struggled to do because there's so many pieces in what you do, et cetera. So, but I think just saying that we've at least,
Maybe just a kind of review of what the value of open space, the Conservation Commission is doing this, and encouraging everybody to keep an eye on the open space around them. Because it's something that we can't always do. Find out someone's cutting down things, or, certain kinds of activities need permits, and people that may have them, but I don't know. We can encourage people to be nosy. But it is, we rely on people reporting on
So we
things.
find out about most things.
Right, so it could be something in events to say that this is our concern, but we don't have eyes everywhere, and we really
in a
have
nice,
sense
gentle way.
Yeah, somehow in a gentle, I mean, so I.
Not
it
see
has to be-
something, say something.
No, but it would have to be carefully worded.
Yeah.
But it is something, maybe would nudge people who are bothered by, concerned about something to
We're
just.
all stewards of the land, and I thought it was really nice that you brought up, you're concerned about your neighbors cutting down grass because you're concerned about the animals in the marsh and everything. And, if everybody can have that mindset.
Right.
Okay.
I wonder if that would be a good article. Like, so many
Yeah.
people border the marsh. What can you do in the marsh? Kind of an interesting article.
That's a great idea.
Yeah. When I first moved in, I called somebody, who I called the tech. I said, can you dump leaves in the marsh? Because my neighbor's landscaper would clear their leaves and then just throw them over the stone wall into the marsh. And it just didn't seem right to me. And I really didn't get a good answer. It was like they didn't.
A lot of people do that.
They didn't really know if that was allowed. but they said it's probably not a good idea, but,
It's
No.
not, it adds too much nitrogen, right?
Yeah.
So much changes the whole
Yeah.
energy.
Yeah, I caught my guy doing it a couple times and I said, no, don't. It's,
A lot of people do
Yeah.
it though.
I know a lot of people do it. It's an easy thing.
Yeah,
When you were talking about articles, I was thinking, I know we mentioned it briefly last time, but leave the leaves article, like.
Oh, yeah.
And if,
That's right.
if we did do a leave the leaves, could mention, don't dump your leaves in the marsh either, because
that's
Be
good.
responsible.
or wetlands, it's really
Yeah.
not good for those.
Well, you know, everybody's aware they bring the leaf to the collection.
Well, right, I know. it's-
Yeah, and then
kind of
they,
makes
and then
it
they
pretty
convert it
easy.
to a mulch,
Yeah.
which then people
that's
can
great.
put back on. So it's a recycled.
Can't you put your leaves on the street, don't they do a pickup one?
Limited areas, yeah,
Mhm.
just limited areas. Not everybody. I mean, it's
Yeah,
not.
I know we
town.
don't have it on the.
We don't have it on.
If you bag them, the town doesn't come by and pick them. I think you call.
if you call the town, they will.
Oh, really?
Something like
Yeah,
that.
but it's
I
not,
was surprised when I
no,
read.
because we have private pickup, but I think you gotta call them for that. I
Yeah.
think you're right. But that's something that should be looked at, because when I lived in another town, the town did the collection and recycled. And then the people bought actually bought the mulch,
Yeah,
you know what I mean? They were capturing their costs back.
yeah, when I lived in Ann Arbor, they pick up, it was really nice.
Yeah,
But it was
I-
very street town or, you know,
Yes.
made
That'd be a
sense
great
for them to
graphic
do it.
for the
Yeah.
article.
Get my.
But yeah, I love that, the leaves.
Yeah.
Sure, they appreciate that.
Okay.
Well, they think I'm crazy.
Do you guys do fundraising for your ecology club?
That's so place.
Not,
Really?
I don't think, maybe we have in the past,
Yeah,
not that
something you
I
mentioned.
know of.
Because I didn't know if you needed a fundraiser, maybe selling the leaf bags, you know, the paper leaf bags would be a good idea.
Yeah, we could do that. Yeah, that would be a great idea
Yeah.
to fundraise for feedbacks. Okay, yeah.
Or for,
I
yeah,
think
whatever, school, yeah. Yeah. All right, yeah, so let's, maybe try to start maybe drafting some stuff, because our next meeting, is August 12th.
Mhm.
And it's due, yeah, so we might have to do a little bit of this offline. But I'll send out.
It all doesn't have to be in this one.
No, you could do the next one.
It's true. it would
But
be.
if
Yeah.
it's about leaves, this is a
Yeah.
good one to do.
This would
because
be a
that's
good
what
one
comes
to do it.
afterwards, so I could try to do some stuff about leaves.
Okay,
Cool.
right,
Okay.
okay.
Yeah.
And the other stuff is really, and actually, Lori, because can you make even a couple sentences about the open space monitoring? That one
Yeah.
could wait, but if you have time. And then the dark
Right.
skies, I'll try to find, we already have that, and I can just do a couple sentences on the pollinator pathway signs. That's easy. And again, these are,
For the circular talk.
no, for the events magazine, because that is limited, I think, to 300 words, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's pretty flexible. Oh, okay, yeah,
Okay.
Jennifer's nice, but yeah, I mean, but it does keep us from being too wordy.
Yeah.
I think the graphics are the best part, so if you have good pictures.
Oh, yeah, that's
Catch
true.
people's eye.
Yeah.
Good idea.
Yeah.
And I typed in the email addresses that you all got from the environmental
Oh.
fair, so we do have a mailing
I was
list.
thinking that, so when we do the circular, we have.
Yeah.
Now to.
Yeah,
It's
we
not a
talked
ton,
about it
it's
actually
20
last time,
maybe?
Lori, so Nina brought him in.
I was telling you. You told me to write the letters and the lady never picked up her basket, and I called her and I emailed her, nothing, and I wrote the letter and
Oh,
she didn't get the phone call, she didn't get the email, but she
Oh,
got the letter and she drove down. And
Oh,
she's very excited about the basket, so I'm glad you insisted that I send that letter.
Oh,
nice.
She was happy to get it.
Above and beyond your.
Oh,
It's
no,
almost
that's
too
no big
late.
yeah, well, we were gonna pull another name and then,
Yeah, right.
then said, no,
You
let's
should have
do
stuck
snail
with the
mail.
other names. Just say, we're almost ready. Okay.
Commission webpage, actually, I was gonna look at it for you, and I forgot because I got stuck on reading all the stuff about that property, but anything.
I haven't done anything with that.
Yeah, we probably should, maybe next time, if we think of it, everybody take a look at it, see what we could. Be followed.
Okay, go to the conservation commission webpage, look around. There's a lot of
Yeah.
Good information on it. Be interesting.
Yeah, that would be, yeah,
Yeah.
you have a chance and be interested in what you might wanna, might be good stuff to put on this. Yeah.
Not a lot of people go to it, that's the thing, but there's a lot stored there, you know, it's a, we have to figure out how to,
Yeah.
right, see what's, yeah.
If we're Facebook posting, I wonder if we can link back to. Okay. On Facebook posting. I think I can put that.
So I've got to figure out somebody to do it, because I'm just, I'm
Yeah.
not
That's pretty.
totally withdrawn from.
Okay,
All right, guys, anything else? I know we're a little bit over, but we did have, it was a good, yeah. No, it was a good discussion though on the, on the
We'll talk about
property.
that.
All right, so do you have a motion to adjourn? Second,
Second.
Lori, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, we're done.